Okay, well, the first thing that I'm going to do before we begin any conversation is share two big thank yous. The first one is to our audience around the world for listening to this episode of the Simply Inspired Presenting Champions podcast because today is a special episode 550. So I want to thank all of you who have stuck by me for this time. And I want to thank God for making this possible for this length of time to help and inspire other people by sharing messages like these. If you are tuning in for the first time, welcome. And the second big thank you is to our lovely guest today because today I am very, very honored and blessed and humbled, all of those good things, to welcome to the show Christiana Budica. Now, I don't know if I'm saying it the right way or if I'm completely
Perfect.
messing it. It's good. I say it the right way. Good, good. I spend more time practicing names than I spend practicing questions, actually. But this lovely lady who is joining the show today is just pure inspiration, a remarkable athlete in kickboxing, where she is world champion, or that's kickboxing and Muay Thai, Thai boxing as well, boxing, karate, and she is also an actress and a world-renowned painter. Today, we will be talking specifically about all of these aspects, public speaking as well. Incredibly diverse, incredibly inspirational. And guys, if you get a chance to check out Christiana's paintings, they are incredibly beautiful, breathtaking, and humbling portraits of the saints. We will be speaking more about orthodoxy and this aspect specifically. But as always with my interviews, we will be going a little bit deeper beyond the surface to talk about the mindset that it takes to reach such a high level in multiple sports. We'll be talking about Christiana's diversity across multiple different disciplines, and we will be sharing lessons that you, the audience, can take away and put into practice in your own life. And best of all, you don't even have to be an athlete. If you are an athlete, that's a bonus. But these lessons apply in any area: business, education, your relationships, your family, any area of life. There will be something you can take away and put into practice. So, Christiana, thank you so, so much for taking the time to do this with me. It really is a pleasure and an honor. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'm also honored and humbled by the way you did your homework into discovering my all my career aspects, which is a lot, but you managed an amazing job. So thank you very much. I am honored to be here with you, and hopefully we will get to inspire people and young people as well who are searching for answers. Hopefully today we will provide some wise answers for them.
Absolutely. I believe we will. I believe that that's what we're all about, and we both have that intention to help other people. As I mentioned, I do give thanks to God, all thanks for being here, not only to do this, but also with our circumstances as well, because today I've had to improvise with the power outages here. You've injured, recently had an injury, so the fact that we're here, even to be talking at all, is a blessing. So
Yes.
I want to say that. Anyway, getting into the topics themselves, as I mentioned in the introduction, you are very diverse. You try many different things. And I think that I'm going to start here with this topic as to how you do that because it's a lesson. A lot of people stay with what they know and they have the desire to do something else. You know, for example, you are an athlete, but you also paint, you also act, you do these things. And a lot of people are in a position where they look around and they think, well, I would love to try that, but what if I don't do well? You know, what if it's too much out of my comfort zone? And you do many different things, so I don't think you know what a comfort zone looks like. You know, you always have to do it
Not
different.
really.
Uh, So, how do you develop the mindset for trying many different things, or the courage and bravery to try many different aspects of life, if that makes sense? May we start with this topic just to warm things up because many people will be curious to hear. Thank you.
Sure, thank you for this question. Well, since a very young age, I was very curious. I wanted to try everything. So, of course, I think society brings a lot of burden, and I got this feedback. Don't do too many things because you will fail into achieving too many things. In Romanian, because I'm Romanian, we have a saying that if you will run after two rabbits, you will not catch any rabbit. So just run after one rabbit, so you will have the rabbit, maybe. But I never felt that applied to me because I was good in martial arts, I was good at school, I was good in painting. So I was actually running after more rabbits than two, and I was catching everything. So that didn't apply to me. But also because I have this born courage, because it's not something that I worked on. I was born like this, very courageous. And I felt like anything I would try, I will succeed at. And this happened. And maybe later into adulthood, um, I started to have fears. But when I was a youngster, I had no fear. And those fears were social fears. What if I will not be a champion anymore? What if I do this and I will not be at the level that people are used to? So this is the moment when I started to believe, what if doing too many things is not really the way? But and actually, for the persons who are maybe in the same situation, um, actually I tried doing only sports, and for a couple of months. So I said, okay, because some trainers advised me that it would be better for me to do only sports because I'm an elite fighter, and then just put your mindset only fighting, and that's it. So for I think for 3 months, I only did fighting. So no reading, no studying, no painting, no acting, nothing, just fighting. And I think this could just turn into a study because like science. Because you know what happened? Um, I was very surprised, but this is what I felt, and I am sure because of the results, I am I am absolutely sure this is the truth for me and maybe for others. Um, my level as a fighter dropped, and I was shocked. And of course, I had someone to blame, so the trainer, the environment, the food, everything. And but that didn't give me peace of mind. So what is happening? Why did I drop my level as a fighter if that's the only thing now that I'm doing? So my all my energy is into training, into fighting, into being the best in the world. And the answer came like this: well, you are the best when you do all your talents, because all your talents. So if I have three talents, one talent is the main talent, and the others are the ones that back up the main thing that you are and you have. So if you take away the secondary talents you have, you actually chip in that main thing, the best you have. So actually, you you are a rich person who have many talents, and then if you pick only one, you actually you do the worst thing possible because you cannot be the at full extent how God thought of you when He created you. And many people have a lot of gifts, but because social environment says do only one thing, they really cut off their branches. So if we have a this huge tree, a tree is not only one branch. It has many branches. Of course, it's one principle, and the other ones get out of it. and it's a full environment, and I see myself as an environment. And when I look at people, so it's not just me. So I'm not the special one who got all the talents in the world. I see a lot of people who are multi-talented, but they don't have the bravery into believing they are because nobody told them. And because when people point fingers, they will never say you are brave, you are enough, you are beautiful. They people say you are fat, you are ugly, you are not talented, you are poor, you don't belong here. You understand? So this is when I think this is when people actually don't understand the mirror. So they look into the mirror, they see themselves, but they don't see themselves. They see what other people told them, and usually it's really bad things. So when I don't look up on my gifts, I I just I I don't do what I meant. What was meant for me. I don't do that. It's just I'm under all the labels that other people put on me, which is not me. It's other people, and how other people see me has many times has nothing to do with me. It's about them and their stories. And I think this is the way. This is the place where people have no clarity about their identity. And I think at this point in the world, it's a human identity crisis where people don't really know what to do, what to say, who they are. And that's why a lot of really weird stuff appear in human identity because we don't really know who we are. And I think this is because we don't see our gifts and we don't do anything with them. So yeah, that's how I see this multi-talent uh, purpose in life. Yeah.
It makes a lot of sense. It's a very, very powerful lesson, and I felt drawn to begin there. So I'm glad that we did. And yes, uncovering the identity, and that leads me to another important lesson with yourself, Christiana, is the belief in your identity. And I would like to talk about this, particularly in terms of the fighting, but I'm sure that the painting, the acting, and everything also have an aspect. But specifically with martial arts, when you were growing up, when you were learning these disciplines, did you face more opposition or more encouragement on either side of the spectrum? Because I'm curious that now, female fighters and this is being embraced all around the world. But that's fairly recent in the sense of certain female athletes opening this up to be accepted around the world. And, even if you look at certain boxing organizations or the UFC or certain things. It's very much in recent years. So when you were growing up and in a conservative country as well, a beautiful country, beautiful people. I have many Romanian friends, but more conservative. Was there opposition to you as a woman desiring to be a fighter? Were people saying to you, "Oh, you don't want to get hit," and these sorts of things, or were they saying, "Go for it, we believe in you"? I think that this aspect is important to touch on as well because when people chase their dreams, they're going to get some encouragement, but they're going to get some opposition as well. And I'm curious how that was for you, please.
Yeah, well, that's a very sensitive point you touched there. Yeah. Um,
I hope it's okay to.
yes, of course, of course. I think any girl who will start a man's sport or domain or world will get this. So when I first started to say that I want to become a professional fighter, I was 16, and at that point, I think there were maybe not even five world-known female fighters, including boxing, where there are a lot, but including. And people would tell me that I was crazy. I'm just a girl. And of course, I had this insults that I was just a girl from Romania and I will get nowhere. And at the end of the day, come on, you're just a girl and you'll get married and you won't be doing this sport anymore. This is not okay. This is not a sport for women. And for me, that felt very unhealthy and very weird because I was not thinking like this. I mean, the way I was thinking was very without limits. So I thought anything was possible, and I just couldn't connect to this belief of you can't do it, or it's not appropriate for you to do it, or you are a girl, you should be wearing high heels and skirts, and not you should not be punching people. You should not have bruises on your legs, and you should be in, I don't know, doing something else, not staying in the gym all day. But for me, that was actually it was a drive because in my mind, my parents were very uh, 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 free in raising me, as in they had this confidence that I will be mature enough to get to take the right decisions. So they just, it was like a bet, I think, because they risked maybe my decision were not that good, but they risked. They had the faith that I will decide good, and I did. I think I decided the best way that defines me. So yeah, I told them, look, I'm gonna become a professional fighter. I wanted to become a medic, so I trained a lot. All my school was about going to the biology Olympics and studying anatomy. I wanted to be a brain surgeon. So the hardest thing for me was the brain. So I wanted to do the hardest thing, of course. But then at 18, I had some medical problems. I was in the hospital, and I could see a little bit the hospital world and how the doctors were, how the patients were. And my drive into being a medic was to make people happy. Because in my mind, if they were healthy, they should be happy. And at 18, seeing the reality in the hospital, it was devastating for me because the doctors were not happy. They were drained, they were tired, they were uh, limited. And the patients, even if they got away from the hospital healthy, they were not happy. So for me, that was like a scam where I saw that, okay, so being healthy does not make people happy. So being happy is something to do with something else, but what? So this is when I actually started uh, to read a lot about God, about faith, about actually what's the truth. So when I discovered uh, what the truth is and how my faith is, I knew that actually being happy is about the spirit and is about a healthy soul, not only the body, but the spirit, the heart. So I knew that being just a medic won't be enough. So I felt like, okay, so how do I make people happy? I will inspire them. So exactly your thing of your podcast. So because I was a champion already in martial arts, and I went to Japan and I competed there in the world championship at 16, and I saw how people related to champions. I met there the K1 legends at 16, and I was shocked. And I said, okay, I want to be like them. Because if I'm a world champion and I will say something, people will believe me. This is actually how I started to do motivational speaking. Because if I say something to someone, do this, and I'm just ordinary, that person probably will not hear me at all. If I'm a world champion and I tell a person do this, uh, maybe maybe the person won't do it, but there are many chances that the person will be inspired by who I am, not what I say. And because that person wants to be like me, not the world champion, but the energy that they feel, they will have the inspiration. Because what is inspiration? Inspiration is energy, is the drive, and we are interconnected. I'm not a champion just for my ego. Okay, so who helped? I mean, if I'm a champion, okay, what does that do in your life? Really, nothing. But if I'm a champion to inspire you and you and you, there are chances that the fact that I am a champion will do good. And my main goal to make people happy. So this label of people telling me you can't do this, it's not possible. So it's not possible to become a professional fighter. That was the first. And then my next was, and I want to be a world champion. And that was like, no way. You are crazy. Who told you that you can do this? No one told me. I can believe it. I'm believing it. And because I already am a world champion before I got the title, my energy was there. The bell just followed. So all this bad talk was actually great talk, because it got me into the position that I wanted to prove that I was able to do it, that I'm not just a girl from Romania, that I'm a powerful girl from Romania, and Romania is a great place with great people, and I don't care what people believe, because I will show them differently. And I made this happen because this girl from Romania topic is real, and people laugh, but they laughed until they stopped laughing, because people who have value and are authentic, they will recognize value from everywhere. It doesn't matter where it comes from. If it's valuable, people who have value will see it. So this happened to me, and for all people there who have a dream that other people mock at or laugh at or disconsider, I tell them to go forward and make that bad feeling, turn it into something great without hate towards the others, because they have their own limitation. Make that an asset to keep you moving, and not from the. I mean, the way you do this is, I think, the key. Because you can do this frustrated and with hate, wanting to prove the others and to make people feel envy that you succeeded. And this is one way to go. But this is I think it's very consuming, heart consuming, soul consuming. You cannot stay a beautiful person inside if hate is the thing. You cannot. Maybe you can put on makeup or a filter, but you will not be a pretty person. But if you take that hate and turn it into a drive, understanding that people have their own fears, their own limits, their own way of thinking, which has nothing to do with you, then you can make a difference. And this how you succeed. I think this is the key. And how you succeed makes you a better person for others and for yourself. And uh, I think this is worth living for. I mean, we only have one life, and this is the joy in living and doing things that other people feel it's impossible. It's a dream, really. It's a dream that, and I think when someone tells you, "Look, this is impossible," I think that's the moment where you should realize that you are so strong and so precious that you took a goal that someone else has never thought at, and has hasn't got the courage even to dream it. So that is the moment that you should be driving all your existence into making it real for yourself and for others. Yeah.
That is incredible. That is an incredible answer, and I'm really glad that I asked the question in that sense because I wasn't sure because I know there will be some difficult experiences there, but it's very valuable to encourage other people and other women, but other people, anyone to chase their dreams. So it's absolutely wonderful. Now, when it comes to the becoming world champion aspect, um, I would like to touch on that a little bit more because when people watch the fight, that is one thing. That is one thing to watch it. But when you're actually in there and you realize you've done it, you've become a world champion, it's happened, it's really real. I'm curious as to what goes through your mind and what you feel in your heart in that first moment when it's just happened, because I know it takes time to sink in, as they say. So it was probably a period of time afterwards. But still, in that first, when it happens, what was the first thing that you thought about in that moment, please, Christiana?
Yeah, I love your questions.
Thank you.
They're very on point. Um, well, I think winning and winning titles and the world title for me had something to do with maturity. Because when I first became a world champion in amateur at 18, it was something that I dreamt for 9 years since I was 9 years old, and I became a world champion. And I was in Turkey, and that moment felt like a dream. Really, it was like a dream. I was on the top of the world, but that was not the most important moment at that time for me. The most important moment was the next day. The next day, I woke up in the morning. So I was 18. I woke up and I was the world champion. And I went to the bathroom to wash my face and I looked myself in the mirror. And it was still me. And I was shocked. Listen, it's still me? I mean, I'm a world champion. Why is it still me? I look the same, like yesterday, like 2 years ago, but now I'm a world champion. What is this? Is this all? What now? So this was my shock. The first shock, actually, that it was not about winning the world title. So what? What's next? I was the same person, but was I the same person? In the mirror, yeah, the mirror didn't tell me anything else because I thought I would be like a queen, like the empress of the world, and I was still me, Christiana, with the fears, with my limits, with being tired, with being sleepy, with being hungry, but still me. So what changed? And some years had to pass because, of course, the first thought in my mind was, okay, next year I need to be world champion again, and then again world champion, and next year again world champion. Because what else is there? I am searching after something, after another title, but is that the thing that I'm searching for? Because my soul is searching for something, but for what? And for me, it was God. I was searching for God. And I put this label that God is a world title. If I deserve it, I will conquer it. It was not about that. It was my becoming. So the world title was my becoming. And from 18 to 25, when I became the first world professional kickboxer of Romania and female fighting, well, a lot of years passed, a lot of work. And in the moment that I won the title, which was absolutely unbelievable because my opponent was the one who was the champion and she was the one who should have won because she was wow. In that moment when I realized before, so from the first round, I realized I will be winning this for sure. I felt grace. I felt grace. But also this was one of the, I always tell this moment because it's very powerful. So before, one night before the fight, we had the weigh-ins, and my body just blocked. I couldn't drop any. I had a few grams to um, take out, and my body just blocked. I didn't eat for I don't know how much time, not drinking. I was in heavy thirst, dehydration, and I had a very intense moment into I was in a sauna, and uh, and for the first time in my life, I felt that God was not there with me anymore. So this was like my epiphany moment, one of them, but very, very powerful in my sports career. So I've always felt God, felt His presence with me since I was 3. I've always felt it. So I was there in the sauna, and I couldn't feel the presence of God anymore, and I didn't understand why. I mean, what did I do wrong? I mean, why you are not here with me? Because I need your help now. Because if you don't do the weigh-in, then you won't be able to fight. You are disqualified. So the thing is that the most important thing that I felt was that even if I was in a sauna and it was very hot, inside me, I felt like a huge fridge. So all cold because God was not there anymore. So I finished the theological university. So I knew a little bit how things should feel, and I was not feeling okay. And at that point, and I'm telling this because maybe people at some time feel that God left them or punishes them somehow. So I'm telling just my story, how I reacted at that point, where all my limits were tested, physical and then spiritual. Um, I grabbed all the things that I knew mentally because I could not feel them spiritually anymore. And I shouted, if now is the moment that you left me when I needed you most, then you should feel ashamed. I will still believe in you. I don't care about the title fight, even if I've worked so hard all my life, but you should be ashamed that you left me today and you are not here with me to help me. And then they stopped, and I stayed for a few more hours. I did the weigh-in. And then I remember going to bed, and I tried to make my fists, and I couldn't. So I had no power left. And this is how I blacked out and I slept. And the next morning, in the morning of the fight, I woke up, and the first thing was to clench my fists. And I felt so much power in them. And I felt God again, like always. And then that was the moment when I knew I will win an impossible title to win for me, a girl from Romania. And this is the story of the moment when I won. Um, for me, it's a spiritual experience, and this is why I cannot. Because people always ask me why, how can you fight and have faith and be religious and be like this? Because that's not normal. But it is normal because this sport is about the fight that I do with myself, with my limits. It has nothing to do with my opponent. My opponent she is helping me, showing this, making this possible because she works a lot, she sacrifices a lot too. So she helps me, and I help her. And this is the way you look at this. You make it from a violent situation that you can see from outside into a battle, which is not so far from a theological experience, actually. Yeah. You were not expecting this story.
I was not expecting it in that way. I mean, I have questions about the faith aspect, though, so I'm really glad that this has come up because it's very, very important. I mean, actually, when I decide to interview people, any people, it comes from God as well. You know, it's not always the logical thing of
Right.
saying, well, you know, this person has won this thing and they do this. I mean, it's very much the feeling, you know. So when I saw something with you on LinkedIn, I think it was, and I just thought, you know, I know this is right. And I say a prayer, I think, okay, I know this is right. And it's never from my ego, you know, even if somebody is really successful, like you are really successful, but even if someone else is really successful, but they don't have the principles, they don't have the things to share, and it's all about them. I'm not going to do the interview, you know. I spent
Congratulations.
well, thank you, because I spent time with people like that in the past, and I thought the only people who are happy are the ones who are inspiring, the ones who are of service. You know, even if it's they win many titles or they in the Olympics, they do something big, but it's me, me, me. You know, it's a very empty experience. So, you know, and that leads me to the faith aspect because you mentioned earlier about the medical side of things. You mentioned earlier you wanted to be a medic, you wanted to be a brain surgeon, and you got there and you saw the stress and the pressure and the struggles that they have, and you went into um, true happiness, into, you know, trying to uncover what true happiness is. And when I sit with you now, you have that happiness, you have a glow, like an aura of this. So what you were saying, by the way, Christiana, about that sauna and about when God left you and you felt the cold and he came back. First of all, I want to ask you, just so I don't forget, actually, was that a test of faith? Would you say that he withdrew temporarily at that time and then gave you the power back in the morning as a test of faith? Would you say that was the reason, or was I want to ask you that, and then I will ask you my other question in just a
Yeah.
moment.
Well, I had goosebumps when I heard your question. Um, Actually, I never thought why. Can you believe it? But now that I'm thinking of it, probably because maybe it was a test, but also because, of course, as a person who finished the theological university and I have um, some knowledge about theology and faith and religion, I had a very strong judgmental opinion about those who didn't believe at all in God, so atheists. I was very judgmental. I mean, I would always say you cannot be an atheist. I mean, you cannot really not feel anything. You are human. You for sure you feel something. So I was very judgmental, but very. And at that point in the sauna, where I was in a hot place, but inside it was a huge fridge, that's when this was my first thought. Then, if that is what people feel, they cannot believe because they feel a huge fridge inside them. And if that is what they feel, they cannot feel anything else. Even if I tell them, even if I explain them, even if I show them, if that's what they feel, if that's what they've experienced all their lives, who am I to judge them? Because it's something that is not in our control. It was not in my control to feel that. I just felt it. And it was shocking, but it was shocking for me because I had something to compare with presence of God always compared to that huge fridge sensation inside me where there was nothing. So if that is what people feel, who am I to say that they're crazy? And I think this was a little bit because of this, because of my judgmental, very strong opinion And that was actually somehow it was very organic that I renounced into judging people on their beliefs, understanding that there is a time and a path and a story for everyone in their relationship to God, with God, and I'm no one to judge that. So that was it was a hard lesson in a very hard moment, but probably it was the only moment where I could have understand exactly what what's all that about. So that's why I told you about maturity, because at 18, if that happened, probably I would freak out. But at 25, I was more mature and understanding that um, actually, in order to be able to live authentically every day, you need to die every day. And I'm saying that in dying in our ego. So every day we need to die a little bit in order to live, truly live our lives for the others. Because you said something really nice about your the people you invite. That if it's only about them and how champions they are, that you won't invite them. And this was a very powerful thing for me when I was a teenager, because I associated, and maybe this is actually the truth, because I was so young, and maybe this feeling is the truth actually. I was sure that um, a champion is a champion because he is virtuous, he is good, he is inspiring, he is helpful, he is selfless. And I thought that only a person like this can be this. Um, and who were really bad people. And they were world champions. I was shocked. I mean, I thought that being a champion is actually like a world champion in humanity. And that's why they became also world champions in whatever sports. And when I saw that really villains and really bad people became world champions, I was shocked. I couldn't understand why. And still can't understand why, but I know it's actually the choice. We have the freedom to choose how we become champions and what for. So um, I'm very grateful that you do this, because um, it's important that we understand that being a champion is something else. It's not only about the medals. Yeah.
Absolutely. What you said there about championing humanity, I had the same experience basically. I had it from a different point of view because you're competing there, so you're sort of with them, and myself is on the media side, like this or like photos of filming or any type of things, writing, all different things. But it's the same thing because you still get close to them in that aspect. And basically, I saw the same process. So when I started doing this, which was a while later, I did my best to bring that knowledge into it of saying, okay, they have to be the right individuals. So, it's good that we have mentioned that because, and I believe that for those people who are bad people, who become champions, that they are learning something from it in their soul as well. God is doing something like showing you what an atheist feels with the coldness. They're learning some type of contrast. I've met very, very bad people in my life, and sometimes I've even questioned how can God even sort of allow that, or how can people be like that? And I still know that somewhere they are learning something. But anyway, that's off topic. My other question that I meant to ask earlier regarding the happiness aspect is I would like to go deeper. Now, this is an interesting one because this is one question where I don't have the really specific topic. I would actually like to talk about your contrast of happiness across your different pursuits. So, in other words, how the happiness of being world champion compares to the happiness of painting, for example. and serving God through creating a beautiful artwork that inspires people, and how that compares to acting. I would like to go deeper into the way that you've uncovered what it really means to be happy and what it means to not be happy, starting with that situation with the medical people. And you thought, okay, they're not happy in this context, they're doing a valuable service, but they often suffer, to the lessons you've learned about what it takes. And I think the reason I'm asking this, because this is a feeling, so it's hard to put into words, is basically your advice to inspire other people how they can be happier, how they can connect with God more, and how they can be happier. But I don't have the very narrow 1, 2, 3, 4 of how we're going to get to that answer. So I leave that with you because you've had so many different experiences. But it's basically, how can people be happier and more fulfilled in their souls in this life? Because that is something we need in the world. We have more material comforts than ever, but there's more people feeling that empty feeling, that cold feeling, than ever. So we need to share some advice on that. Does that make sense, Christiana? Where
Yes, a
that's
lot of
good.
sense. Yeah, yeah, yeah. We are on the same mental vibe.
Very much.
um, yeah, I think the place where everything connects, sports, painting, acting, speaking, is the place and the moment where I empty myself from myself. That feels a little bit philosophy, but it's actually true. Um, when I train or when I fight, I go until I cannot go no more. And to be able to make that cross over that limit, I need to forget about the pain I have, the struggle I have, the fear I have, the everything. And I need to forget about myself and do something that I can't control, but I can control, to be there and push and forget about everything that I feel as human. And that makes me happy, and I feel happy because that's the moment where actually you don't act from ego, because you cannot control. And what you cannot control is not from your ego, it's the way it goes. Because many victories came, but they were not under my control. Also, as my failures in sports were not under my control. I mean, yeah, for someone who doesn't know the sport, you can say, how can you say this? You were in the ring. How can you say you didn't control? You don't control. It's actually, it goes God's will. And maybe that night, for you to be a better person, so a happier person, you need to lose. And if you cannot accept this, it's because you're in a huge ego. And you are in the ring just because you are too afraid to lose. You are so afraid of failure that you will do anything to win. But you don't do that because you are happy to win. You do that because you are afraid to lose. So why do you win? Because you are afraid to lose, or because you are happy to win and inspire other people? When I paint to a degree, especially iconography, where if it's about my artistic ego, about my ideas, about how I want it to look, then for iconography, I won't be able to make a living object which has power, which is a instrument in praying. It will be just another piece of art. You can put it on the wall. That's aesthetic. It's nice. We don't care. And in order for a iconographer to create an icon that is a living object, it needs to go beyond its limit. And in that, so this is a very unusual territory for people to understand, but When you paint an icon, it's the same when you pray. When you pray, in order for your prayer to have substance, you need to cool off, turn down, shut off all your thoughts. Everything needs to switch off. When you paint, it's the same. And this is actually this happens actually before you get in the ring as well. Turning off your thoughts because it's not something you can control. Just let it be. But that is so much above our human limits that that is what makes us special in creation. We have um, this appearance after God's image that we can do that. We can shut down our human um, limits and do things we cannot control, which make us absolutely outstanding. Because if you ask anyone who has done amazing things, and you will ask that person how he or she did it, they will say, I'm not really sure. It just happened. Of course, it needs our work, our sacrifice, our belief, our trust, our confidence. But at the end of the day, the record, when that's broken, it's not something that happens because I want it to. It just happens. And it happens when you go after and push that limit where your ego is not there anymore. And in acting, it's I always thought acting is something very easy to do. I mean, because as an athlete and as a fighter, I always thought I am the real deal. Because in acting, if you screw up a scene, it doesn't matter. You do it again. In the ring, you cannot do that. It's there. It's live. It's authentic. It's real. You don't lie, people. And for me, acting was a little bit like lying. Until I started to do some serious acting and understanding that actually it's the same. It's it's the emptiness of your own identity into creating and building a character's identity and making people believe you and making people feel emotions with what you do. So it's so authentic and it's so deep. It goes so deep inside uh, an area that it's not about you. It's about the character. So the same thing, emptying your mind, who you are, which possibly always is about our ego. So this is how they connect, and this is how I do them, emptying my mind and the things that I think I can control, because actually you cannot control anything. Just the idea of controlling what we can control is absurd. So I think this is the philosophy, emptying your mind and your ego into doing things that are extraordinary. Yeah.
It makes a lot of sense actually, because a friend of mine, and not to go off topic here, but I will just say this to you. A friend of mine said to me once, who's also a theological person and has written books on these things, and he said to me that I was trying to remember the exact quote, but his words to the effect or something along the lines that God begins at the end of the self, or something like that. He said to me, and I was talking to him about the times in my life where I had to be brought to my knees and humbled a little bit to actually listen and pay attention. And that's a whole other story for another day. But what you've said there, in every spiritual tradition, or everyone I speak to who's had a genuine spiritual experience with God, has had to, for want of a better term, get out of their own way, in the sense of get out of, say, so for example, my thing is to take too much on my shoulders. I'll take care of it. I'll find an answer to this. I'll do
You're a
this.
good guy, that's why.
Oh, thank you. But I do my best, but it actually, a lot of it has come from when I have to take some of that off and say, I'll do my best in this situation, but then how it falls after that is not up to me. And that was a big step. And I had to I had to learn to accept that the hard way. But even so, it's very, very, very profound what you said there, and it's a very wonderful spiritual lesson. And actually, a few people have said to me this because I actually started off meditating. So I had when I was growing up, by the way, periods of time of the very strong belief, and then periods of time of that cold feeling. I've experienced that too, right? And I started off meditating first, like the Buddhist stuff, and then I came back to God after that. And I had to get out of my own way. And what you said there, you don't realize it, but God has obviously said something through you to me as well as to our audience, which I'll explain another time. I also wanted to say, when you paint the saints, Christiana, and you're painting these, when I go in the churches here, because I'm in the Orthodox country now as well in Cyprus,
Yeah.
it's incredible, the warmth, the energy, everything. But you said about the living object. I feel that the saints are looking at me. I walk in the church, and here they don't lock the churches or anything. You can go in there if I want to go in there at midnight or something, I can. And nobody damages it, which is beautiful. But I go in and I feel like, all of the saints on the walls, you know how it is, and on the ceiling, everything is all looking at me. And I've never felt it with any other painting. And I'm going to ask you, is that because they are made with the faith that you are talking about in this context? Is that the reason why? Okay.
Yes, half the reason is that, and the other half is because probably most of the churches are decades or hundreds of years uh, filled with prayer, and
Yeah.
they have all the energy of all the people who have prayed there. So when you go in, you connect to that living walls and
Yeah.
icons, and they are just pieces of wood, but actually they have so much energy inside because decades or hundreds of years, people have been uh, um crying over them. They have been happy over them. They have been protecting them because there was a lot of struggle with protecting the iconography against the iconoclasm period. So that's a whole different story in history. So they are just like you can if you can imagine for people who doesn't really know this topic, icons are like for a soldier, like a sword and the shield and armor and the helmet. This is how they are. Of course, we see them as imagery, but they are actually tools that we use in our prayers, and they are alive. I mean, I've seen so many uh, miracles happening that I cannot actually share, but they are so many, and I've seen it so many times that when I don't see it happening, that's when I wonder, why isn't it happening? I mean, for me, it's something normal that I see miracles around me and around icons. It's normal. When they don't happen, that's when I start to freak out. Why aren't they doing the thing they do? So, but it's because they some when they don't perform their job, it's because people are blocked. They cannot believe that that thing is possible. So uh, after your belief, let it be unto you. So if you cannot imagine, it means your soul is not able to receive something that the mind cannot understand. So that's what you feel when you go inside a church, and it's something that for anyone who can enter and have this amazing experience. You go in and just let your mind at home. Leave it be. Just don't listen to what your mind says, and just listen a little bit what your soul says, and you can actually hear some very interesting things. that
Oh,
may change your life or make it better or just become serene. I think I think this could be a magnificent moment for people, modern people who are just surrounded by so much noise, all parts, and so much bad image because we are. I think the battle now is on our senses. What we see, what we taste, what we hear, what we smell, what we touch, everything is corrupted, and to become serene, I think it's better than money, fame, or gold. I mean, it's something
oh yes.
blissful. Yeah.
I agree completely. I agree completely. And I was just taking it in because I went into church about 2 days ago in the night, and I go to the services here. I go all the time, but this time they had a service for one of the feast days in the evening, and because I'm moving now, I was dealing with other things, so I actually went after. And I spoke to the guy, and he said to me, sometimes in an empty church, you can hear God more, even more than in the full one. I mean, it
Yes.
depends. And I just had this conversation. So when you are, because I was always a Christian, you see, Christiana, but it's just that I never got involved in a denomination because when I was growing up, I felt God, but then I saw people fighting amongst different groups, and I thought, I don't want to be part of that. I want to be close to God. But I know that God has brought me here to an Orthodox island for a reason. So
For
that's
sure.
another part of it. Anyway, that's for another day. Okay. One of the last topics, as we're coming up on an hour now, or we might even be a little bit more, is we have spent time looking back at your achievements, and we have spent time talking about what has happened. But I also want to talk about quite a big topic, which is what will happen. Because, when we're talking about this, you've achieved all of this at a young age and you're not slowing down. You're still going forward. You're still doing the painting, the speaking, everything, competing. So there's probably a lot of goals that you have, and this also connects to controlling only what you can control because it's God's will. You see, I've been listening, but I would still like to talk about some of the things you would like to achieve from this point forward. But when I ask people this question, I don't have a timeline on this. I don't have, I mean, if you want to talk about like a few months, it's fine. If you want to talk about, 10 years or some very long time is also fine. It's up to you. And I know that maybe we won't be able to mention all of them, but if there's certain key things that you would like to mention as your next step, I ask this because people also need to know that when you get success, it doesn't stop there. Like you said earlier about the World Championship, the first one, you look yourself in the mirror, you say, I'm still me. What happened? You tell that the story. Well, the positive side of that is we continually evolve, we continually grow. And so people forget that sometimes. They think, I win something and time stops. Whereas obviously you still have to wake up and deal with life. So I would just like to talk about your aspirations, your dreams that you would still like to achieve from this point forward, please, if we may. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, of course, in all my domains of interest, I have still some maybe dreams to achieve, but I'm happy either way, so it's okay. They will happen if I use them to serve my purpose. If not, probably it's better, so it's not a thing. So for acting, we have our project, which is Terkono, a Mongolian story, which is our baby short movie. My project, my husband and my project, which is a short movie, historical movie, which was in the film festivals for 2 years now. It has won amazing prizes, and we want to make a long film, a saga about Terkono, who is a Mongolian princess. So this is for the acting thing for the movies, and then the painting probably. Uh, I think the goal is to paint with a pure heart. I think this is my goal into this. And every time that um, I paint a very special icon, or I restore a very very old and precious icon, I'm very grateful for the process and the faith that people have in me into giving me these commissions and this trust. For the sports, it's of course when I was younger, I wanted to become an Olympian, of course, an Olympic champion, which I tried. Which, of course, this is another very vast topic because I encountered there very uh, bad worlds in which being an Olympian is not too. Pure. It's not a straight line. So it was not for me, and I didn't want to go there. So I had this Olympic dream. All the athletes have the Olympic dream. I tried it. It was not the values there were not mine. So I stepped down, and I was happy about it actually. For the MMA career, of course, I would like to win the UFC for the only purpose that the platform there is so huge that I can do amazing things with that fame and the money and the level, and expressing myself as a fighter on that platform is probably um, the dream now in sports. But I'm okay with it as well, and everything will be actually subsumed and put into my life mission, which is building a complex with a monastery in the center, a school, and a hospital, which will be for people of all social categories. I mean, poor people, rich people, a school where kids can grow and be champions of life. Doesn't matter in what area, but grow up with this mindset that they can do whatever good thing they want to do and be. So I'm calling this a nest of people. Nest of people, like the hen has eggs and the little chicks come out from the nest. This is how this place will be. So this is our life mission, actually, me and my husband. Um, and of course, I want to paint the monastery myself. This is a lifelong dream that I have. So everything that I earn and am, and all my information and all the things I know and all the people that I get to know, uh, I will put into this mission. And it's actually a place that will grow people, no matter the age. So it's not just for kids, it's for everyone, for abused women, for abused people, for people who have questions and don't have answers, for people who want to contribute and don't know how, for people who want to just be, and that's it, and be in a place where they don't need to stay in guard or protect themselves from bad people or from bad interests or bad ideas. It's just a place where people can actually find their peace, and that's it. So this is what my life mission looks like. So I told you my. So I'm inviting you also to this place when the gates will be open and real. Yeah.
That is absolutely incredible. I am amazed, and I believe very much that the world needs this kind of place very much. And I can feel it, by the way, Christiana. As you're saying that, I can really feel the
Great.
reality of it. So yes, any ways that I can help with that would be absolutely wonderful. And the only other thing I'm going to say before we wrap this up, as they say, I also think if you ever get the chance to write a book as well, if you ever get a chance to write anything, or maybe you have done, I don't know, I haven't seen
Oh, I
in,
didn't. I didn't.
or not, but maybe you should, because some of the lessons here as well would be very, very useful in the book form, as an idea that would be good. But with building the monastery, painting it by hand, absolutely beautiful, and any ways that I can support it, please let me know in the future, and I will be
Thank you
happy.
so much, Liam. I will. I will tell you. I am this. I am responsible for this place and for all the people that connect to it emotionally, and I will for sure let you know step by step about this project in the future. Yeah.
Please do. I would love to be involved. For today, we have had a wonderful interview because we have had the fun stories and all of this, but we've also had the lessons and the depth, and especially what we've spoken about with the faith as well. It's just absolutely beautiful. It's absolutely incredible, and this is a message that the world needs to hear. With every interview I do, there's often several things that people share that are very important, but there's kind of usually one that's key, and it depends. But with this today, particularly what you shared about the faith and true happiness and connection with God, and that story in the sauna, that's certainly what one of the biggest things I've taken away, and I'm sure that other people will as well. Because with a podcast, what is beautiful about this format as well is, I'll put this out there soon, on the weekend or as soon as I can, and people will listen to it straight away, but somebody might listen to it 5 years from now. And at the
Exactly.
moment, they're going through something and maybe they're not ready to hear it. But at the time when they're ready to hear it, God will put it in front of them and they will receive something from it. So in a way, it's quite timeless. And I think that's a beautiful thing. I am very, very thankful that God has brought us together, because I discovered your work and everything you do. I discovered you by chance. Some people would say, but obviously
Yeah.
it's not by chance really. So I'm really, really grateful for that,
Thank
and
thank you so much, Liam.
thank you, thank
And
you as well.
congratulations for your book. I just saw
Oh
you
yeah,
did this
thank
amazing thing, and all my best with your book.
thank you. Yeah, The Greatness Within. It's out there. It's on Amazon. So I hope that
Congratulations.
helps some people as well. And thank you very, very much. And yes, I'll send you this when it's released, but we'll keep in touch. Any
Of
other things,
course.
we'll keep in touch.
Of course.
Absolutely. But there we are. Have a wonderful day.
You
God
too.
bless.
God
And
bless.
God bless. Speak soon. Bye
Bye
bye.
bye. Bye.
Thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe to the Simply Inspired YouTube channel, and there'll be more videos coming soon.